Welcome to Tammy Nation. Let's go.
I've been running from 9 to 5, been biting my tongue for all this time. Won't let anyone cut me short. I was thinking this was the way to go, and you put up your puppet show. I say cheers to life. No, I'll be no good man. Just leave me alone. I'm running the show. I'm telling you, it's my time to rise up. Live the life I'm proud of. No, you better go home.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Good Friday afternoon. Hey, Rokabit Jay, good to see you. I'm glad you're catching a live one. I know it's hard to catch me. It's like going out fishing. You never know if you're going to catch anything or not. So I appreciate your diligence in supporting me and hanging out and trying to catch a live one. But there's been a lot going on the last couple of days. You think? I don't know about you guys, but it didn't feel like the end of anything. It felt like the beginning of a lot. And it felt like a turning point in this country, in this nation, with the things that have transpired over, the last couple of years, but with the last couple of days. So the big thing I wanted to start out with today is, he's back. Mr. T's back on X. If you haven't seen it already, the first post that he's had in a long, long time is his mugshot. And I thought that was pretty poignant that he put his mugshot up there, and underneath the mugshot, he's got the date of his mugshot. It says election interference, never surrender, DonaldJTrump.com. And I thought it was interesting, too. I'm not into conspiracies and stuff, but it was brought to my attention that the three sentences that he has along to the left, if you look at the first three letters of each sentence, it spells out E-N-D. So I thought that was pretty funny, tongue in cheek, whether there's something to that or not. It's just, I feel, after what happened yesterday and seeing what's going down, and then I've got an article that just came out as well about Miss Fanny here in Georgia, the one that's prosecuting him and pressed the charges against him. An article came out on her today through the Gateway Pundit that I want to go over to as well. But he is back on X. And I don't know if you guys have it or not, but I know a lot of other platforms and people are putting it out there, not just his mugshot, but there's a whole bunch of stuff going out there again. It's like all the memes have livened back up. It's like all of a sudden after yesterday, it started this morning, there's like a fuel out there that has been lit again, a fire. It's pretty poignant with everything that's been going on with fires across this country as well, the sadness of the fires. And now there's memes coming out that people are saying that it's ignited hope and faith back into this country after what happened and how it was handled and everything else, because there were many interviews along the streets of Georgia. Mr. T drove through an urban area, a very poor and urban area, and those streets were lined with people that were supporting him and happy to see him in a good way, not a mocking way. And they interviewed some of the people, and one of the guys said, I know what it's like to be seeing justice happen to innocent people. I've seen it happen to me. I've seen it happen across friends and family. And he goes, I never thought I would see it at this level. So it happening at this level, to me, how can I not support a man who is being unduly and unjustly charged with different things and crimes, because I've seen it all my life. And if they can do it to a president, a former president of the United States, that to me is the pinnacle of atrocities, because it's risen from the low everyday people all the way up to the top person in the food chain of life, the leader of the free country. So I thought that was pretty amazing, because instead of people being upset about it and negative about it, it was like everybody was supporting him and say, go, we stand by you. So I really think that a flip was switched, that I believe that this backfired on the people that are charging him. Like I said, it relit a fuel and people. And there's all these memes coming out, and Benny Johnson has a whole bunch of them that he's put out. If you guys haven't seen it, try to check Benny Johnson out on the different platforms he's on, because they're pretty creative. They're give hope, their happiness. It's almost like through all this darkest of dark that we've been through, it's almost like through this that happened to him yesterday, it flipped over from the dark into positivity, strength, and it reignited, like I said, a fuel in us to want to fight for what's right, fight for our freedoms, stand by the truth, find out what the truth is. There's also a meme that was made up with American Badass, Kid Rock's song, and it's a campaign ad. And if you watch some of these campaign ads that have popped out through Dan Scavino, Don Jr.'s posted them. A lot of people have posted them on social media. Obviously, they were in the can, prepped and ready to go. But putting them out there, it like I said, it's inspiring. It's hopeful. There's also Don Jr. posted a picture of his dad's mugshot on his page on Twitter, or X, as you want to call it. And he says, "Hey, Deep State, he's coming for you. See you on January 20th, 2025. In the meantime, what do we have? We have our current leader of the United States taking off again for another vacation, hanging out with pictures of him by the beach, et cetera, et cetera. And the thing is, at a time like this, is the crises we have going on in this country, to have the so-called 20 million elected leader out there, just the pictures and the images they have of him out there are not of a strong leader, are not of somebody who cares about the United States of America at all. He's vacationing. He looks weak. He looks fragile every time he's walking around. And here you have a former president of the United States that has been arrested, and he's ignited more happiness, more hope, more strength in America and unifying people than the supposed so-called current leader. You look at the two in comparison, and you look at one who's a leader in strength, and the other shows a huge sign of weakness. There was also a different thing that Dan Scavino Jr. posted out there, which was, to me, very amazing. It's another video. It's about 2024, and there were different words that the person was saying, including heat, fire, inspiration, strength, hope, leadership, authority. And he said, these are all God's gift to men, and it's up to us to cherish it but never abuse it. And I thought that was very encouraging as well, because we know that the scriptures do provide us through Jesus Christ that we do have all these different qualities and gifts, and it's up to us to find our gifts and use them. So in this 2024 video, it does say that I was blessed to be at the top of the mountain, but it's a slippery slope, and it is definitely lonely up here. So it is lonely at the top. I've said that all along. In life, it is lonely at the top. When you stand out against the crowd, the general consensus, and you follow a different path, it can be very lonely. You do have to, you lose friends, you lose family, you may lose jobs. But if you know what's right and you stand for what's right, and it's your blessing and it's your gift to do what you do, you're going to have the right people around you, and you are going to be a leader. And that's what I believe Mr. T is. In the comparison to Mr. T and Mr. B is a stark difference. Mr. T is a leader. He doesn't care who's against him, because he knows who he's for. He's for this country and for the rights of this country and the people of this country. He'll stand alone. He doesn't care. He will stand alone and fight for it. Where we've got Mr. B, who doesn't stand for much of anything that is pro-America. So that's the stark difference between the two. And it's simplified 100%. That photo, the mugshot photo of Mr. T, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, man, that photo tells you so much. You know how they say a picture can represent 1,000 different words? It does. When you stare at that photo, you don't look at that photo like somebody who's weak, somebody who's afraid, somebody who is worried or concerned about what's going to happen to him, or somebody that thinks we're losing this country. When you look at that photo of Mr. T in that mugshot, you see strength, you see anger, you see I'm fighting and I'm coming for you. It's very simple. There's right and there's wrong. And there's been a lot of wrong that's been committed in this country over the last few years, atrocities actually that go far, far back. But it's got to a level that right now it is the fight is on, the game is on to win, because there's so much to lose, and we go around and around with that. We know this, but the thing is, this photo is amazing. And I just think that it's going to go down in history as one of the most poignant and important photos that historians in history will ever know in this country. And now we can switch to the debates. So I don't know if you guys watched the debates or the Tucker interview, but I found this interesting. I did join friends and we watched the debates together because we knew with the Tucker interview, it was recorded so we could watch it at any time. But we wanted to see what the future potential presidential candidates of the United States of America had to say for themselves this first go around, because it was their first time. First impressions matter. And I found it interesting that people chose to watch the Trump interview with Tucker Carlson that was pre-recorded on a platform versus the GOP debates. It was the first one where they all made their debut, because on X right now, the Tucker Carlson interview got over 100 million views. And on Fox, the debates that were live got 11 million views, of course, according to the Nelson ratings. And then they upped the amount to 12.8 million views, a Fox representative stated. That was including the business Fox network as well as all their platforms. So all the platforms that Fox has, they garnered 12.8 million views versus 100 million plus and counting on X for the Trump's pre-recorded interview. So you got to ask yourself, what is that telling us? What is that telling us as a country? People really don't seem, the majority don't seem to care what future GOP presidential candidates have to say, even though some of them seem to be very popular. There's a small amount of people that cared to see what these people, men and women, had to say live versus listening to what Mr. T had to say in a recorded interview. And I think that is very, very telling. You know, we are looking for a leader. We're looking for somebody who's strong, somebody who can get this country back to the way it was, the way that it should be. It should never be lost and be in the condition that it's in, but it is. So I did watch some of the debates, and some of the takeaways I had with these debates, I'm going to say, and I'm going to probably use the first names just for the sake of not having to be worried about censorship, but we'll start with Mike. Mike seemed very dismayed, annoyed, and aggravated, like this debate was beneath him. He really didn't have a whole lot to say that was very, very new, no policies that he would do. It was all, he took credit for things that he did as VP with Mr. T. Fine, he was in administration then, take some credit for it, but there was nothing new. I found it interesting that he twisted the reason why he did what he did that night with the E word. He was saying that he did not have the power to send them back to be looked at. And he does. He does have the power to do that. And, you know, he's been accused, and Mr. T has been accused of saying he wanted to flip it and turn it, and that's what he wanted the VP to do. That's not what he asked him to do. He asked him to turn some of them back to be reviewed, to go back and review these because there's discrepancies and stuff like that. He did have the power to do that. And if you don't think he had the power to do it, then ask yourselves, why after this happened did all of them go back in the dark of the night and make rules and laws that you are not allowed as the VP to ever have the power to turn these E words over for review? So basically, they went and changed the rules. So if Mike didn't have the opportunity to do it and it wasn't his authority, why would they, very shortly after that decision of what he did, change the rules on it? That's very telling in itself there. Hey, Chris Gilbert, good to see you. You know, so that doesn't make any sense to me. And you don't even have to understand the legalities of everything. When you listen to these guys talk, or these males or females talk, and, you know, Pence is out there saying this and saying that, and I couldn't do this. And, you know, you hear on different social medias or media outlets saying, oh, Mr. T was having him just want to flip it over. He didn't have the authority. They twist, entangle, and turn all the words. Why? Because then they know that they're going to plant doubt in people's head, and people are going to just go ahead and pay attention to what they think, depending on who they like. And that's not what we should do. What we should do is look at the facts. The facts of this is If this was not in his capability to do, why go back and try to change the rules that from VPs and stuff down the road, you're never able to do that, to send these back, these E-words back. That is ridiculous. If it's non-existent and not a possibility, why do you even have to go and do that? So it's just simple. It's just simple. Hey, Camperman, how you doing? All right. So then we'll go to Ron. To me, I really liked Ron for a while there, but it's just been shady on and off. But Ron to me looked like at these debates that he was like a deer caught in headlights. So many times they panned over to him and he was like this. And I understand in debates it's aggressive and all that. To me, Nikki Haley, you talk about Nikki, she just was interrupting people a lot of the time. They were allowing her to overspeak people and give her point. And, it was back and forth. It wasn't, to me, a lot of it wasn't fair. People aren't going to mind the timing. I get that, the little timer. They get heated. They're trying to prove their point, make a point. However, Nikki, that's all she seemed to do was be aggressive and stuff and trying to make a point, but over talking other people. So that's a big turnoff to me. Ron stood there. He's like a deer in headlights. And the thing is, I thought, you know what? He doesn't have a personality. And you say, Tammy, well, you don't really need a personality. If you're smart, he could do the job, but you do, because personality matters when it comes to dealing with different leaders, to inspire people, to motivate people. You have to have a certain amount of energy. If you don't have a personality, an outgoing, uplifting personality, and you can't move people with how you speak and what you say, you don't need to be in the forefront as a leader of the free country. If you're just like this and you're saying yes, and you're dull, that's not how you get things done. You have to be aggressive. You have to be strong. You have to show leadership. That's what leadership is. Leadership is being strong in the face of adversity. And if you aren't strong in the face of adversity, I suggest you don't take a position that needs you to be that way. So Ron, to me, it's not that he's a bad man or anything like that. And I know this is just the first debate. I know there's more to come, but he didn't kick it out of the park at all. And a lot of stuff that he said was just kind of, past stuff that he's done or not done, and claims this and claim that. But overall, there was nobody that I saw that was aggressive with their policies and what they were going to do for the American people, and were firm and stood by it. And I mean, when I say aggressive, I say be talking in their hand. Pence, any of them, Pence has all this experience. He could say, this is what I'm going to do for the country. This is it. And I mean it. Show some form of strength and leadership instead of henpecking at each other back and forth, over talking each other, and really going on past stuff. And a lot of stuff, I'm going to say Ramaswamy. Hey, Camperman, I know. I'm glad you're good. And I'm glad you catch the videos. Ramaswamy used a lot of the same talking points that it seemed like he was Mr. T. And I'm not saying that's wrong. People seemed to really like him. When he would speak or say something, people were clapping for him, loving it. And I agree with that. But this is my question. Where did he come from? And how did he rise up so fast? So to me, when nobody becomes a somebody that big out of nowhere, I have to step back. And even though I agree with some of the things he said, a lot of it was reflective of Trump stuff. I'm going to look back and more into him, because I've seen that he's got kind of connections to somewhat kind of not so good people. I don't know for sure. I just saw an article on it. But like I said, with Ramaswamy, for young, aggressive, he really, to me, represented himself better than anybody on that panel debate stage. He did a great job. Young guy, very established, has got these businesses. He's ready to go. He speaks well. He seemed very confident. He has everything going for him. However, is it time for him? I don't think so. In my opinion, no. I think that maybe he does have a future. He seems like he has a future, a good future, because of the way he represented himself way better than some of these so-called experienced people on the stage. And I know I haven't mentioned some of the people that were on the debate stage, but that's because really I have nothing to say about them. Nothing that they said came out as significant to me to even report it. And I by no means am a super professional, a super insider. It's not like I'm in DC, but you know what I represent? The average middle-aged American person. And I'm an American citizen that is looking at these people. Who do I want leading me? Who do I believe in their policies? You know, I'm the average person, and that's where I like to be, because I love to hear what the average person has to say. You know, you get caught up in that swamp of DC or that kind of people, you lose touch with common folk like us. And that's a big mistake a lot of these politicians make. They lose touch with who we are, what we want, and they're representing us. And I have to say, Mr. T has never done that. For being a billionaire, who does he go after? Who does he handshake? Who does he entertain? It's the American person, the average blue collar person, the average middle-aged people, you know, young, old. He tries to just reach the people that have the heart for America, that have the heart for God, that have the heart for this country the way it used to be, and they want it back. The other person was Christie. He got burned by Ramaswamy. I'm going to say Ramaswamy handed him his platter a few times. Christie didn't really have much to say. I've never been a fan of Christie, but he really, Ramaswamy burned him a couple times, and I thought that was pretty amazing. Ramaswamy had himself together. Other than that, it started getting boring. Those are the only things, the takeaways I had of that. To me, it got boring. No one, like I said, no one seemed to stand out and have leadership qualities to be the next president. Like I said, Ramaswamy to me has potential. I will watch the future debates and see if anything changes or if anything sticks with anybody, but I really wasn't impressed, like I said. And while that's going on, so you look at while that debate's going on, 2024 is a huge year for the next president. It's a huge deal. And yet, don't forget, over 100 million views on a pre-recorded for a former president who just got arrested versus 12.8 million views on multiple platforms, mainstream media, and other platforms for potential candidates. That's telling you something right there. And that's the takeaway I had from that. And you know, the views are still growing. I mean, he basically broke the internet. I mean, it's incredible to me. Now let's move on to his arrest. So when you look at the different videos that came out, and, you know, I know a lot of people, including myself from time to time, had fear about this actually coming to fruition. You know, we heard all the stories and we heard all the rumors, you know, the first arrest and then the shot that heard around the world and all this kind of stuff that was conspiracy. Well, the first arrest was pretty amazing. Major arrest of a major politician. And who did it end up being? It ended up being Mr. T. To me, that's kind of shocking to me. And I am by far not a conspiracy theorist at all. I'm just trying to get to the truth. But it's kind of ironic that that happened. And then as his motorcade, like I said, was driving through these urban areas, these people, if you listen to the videos and watch the videos, these people through this poor urban area, like I said, were jumping up and down. They had their phones. They were taking pictures. None of them were mocking him. None of them were saying, yeah, you're getting what you deserve. All of them were like happy to see him, happy that this guy is moving through their street because for support and love and saying, dude, I can't believe this is happening to you. It happens to us. We're used to it, but it happening to you, we can relate. So even in his arrest, he can relate to people. It's incredible. Also, the turning point, to me, it was all a turning point because he's being arrested and it's all these charges and all these bad things happen to him. Yet his support is massive just by the data that's coming out with the Nelson ratings and everything that's come out the last 2 days, all the social media platforms. I don't see a lot of them talking about the debates and all about these different people, okay, that supposedly are standing up for this country and want to become the next president. All of it is about Mr. T and how he is standing strong in the face of this adversity, that he never gives up, that he's a great leader. And it isn't about worshiping him. It's about standing up for somebody and supporting somebody who is standing up for God in this country and we the people. And the debate the other night, all these different people had a chance to do that. All these different people had a chance to showcase their views and stand out strong and be strong-willed and strong-voiced about this country. Not lopsy-daisy, relaxed, mellow, nitpicking on each other. It just was, to me, kind of grotesque. I expected more out of people. I really did. And they didn't deliver. So basically, I think that with this arrest, I feel, like I said, it backfired. It reignited the flame in everybody. A lot of people, I won't say everybody. Sorry about that. But we're fueled up. We're fired up. We're done playing. We're ready to speak up. We're ready to lead. We're ready to hold people accountable. And as I say that, this article that came out today on Gateway Pundit, listen to this. Newly discovered Facebook posts reveal Atlanta DA Fani Willis pushed e-fraud theories in 2020 similar to Trump. So will she indict herself? So she's the one that indicted him on several charges involving speech crimes, okay? But now Willis and Democrats are gathering up Republican leaders and charging them with crimes for challenging the 2020 results. But in February 2021, Fani opened an investigation into President Trump based on his call to Brad following the 2020 that was misrepresented to the Washington Post. The Washington Post later corrected their report after they discovered they were lied to, but the damage was done. Willis's investigation into Trump was all based on a lie by Fawkes and Rassenberger. So Fani Willis and her team knew that folks lied, and last week they still indicted Mr. T and 18 of his associates anyway. And the Facebook posts that she had under here, it says that Georgia could determine, and this is in her own Facebook posts, from November 4th, 2020. She commented on the infamous water leak, which wasn't there. It's been discovered the water leak was not where they said it was somewhere else. But she said, Georgia could determine who is our next president. A team of lawyers needs to watch them count every single vote. They can start in Fulton where we're having water leaks. But what ballots are they throwing out? Georgia, let's give an honest and accounting, no stunts. But then the day before, so she's acting all like, let's be fair, let's do all this, let's get it right, let's not get derailed by the water leaks. But the day before, she told her followers she was scared that they messed up the E. On November 7th, she released multiple posts explaining how proud she was that Kamala was the next vice president. So she put out these series of tweets. First of all, she acted like, with this last tweet, that, let's do it fair and honest. Let's make sure we do everything right. But then on November 7th, after her stating that post, she said, waiting for the E results is like waiting for a grade on a group project. I know I did my part right, but I'm scared you all messed up. So what's that saying? Then she said, the vice president of the United States of America is an African-American woman in a Howard University bison. #tears, #proud. On November 7th, she said that. And then she also posted a picture of Kamala standing on the right side with her arms crossed like the next VP. And she's inside, there's all these pictures in black and white of men. And she said, put some respect on it, Madam VP. So basically, she did the same thing, worse actually, than Trump did. And so now they're trying to find out. Gateway Pundit says, how many is she going to charge herself? Is she going to go after herself? So how ironic is these people get caught doing the very thing they're charging other people with? I think it's absolutely nutballs and crazy. And I believe people have had enough of it. And yes, Camperman, I agree with you. I said at the beginning of this broadcast, I really believe this was the last straw. This was like the final straw line that's drawn in the sand, I should say, that there was a line crossed that should have never been crossed, but they're so brazen and they so believe that we're so foolish and we're going to give up and we're going to just let it go, that they just pushed it too far. Because doesn't that happen with greed, control, power, and distruth? That people just keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it because they don't think they're ever going to get caught. They don't think it's ever going to change. They think it's going to be their way or the highway. And I think that was definitely the line in the sand, because don't forget what they do to him can be turned around and done unto them. And let's not forget, with them doing some of these things they've done, when I had said on my last show that if this would have been taken care of back in the day, 2020 or a little bit later, that it would have been too early, because there were more things to expose and more things to be found out, more documents to be shown to the American people. And now Mr. T also has subpoena power. So let's talk about that. What does subpoena power mean? That means he gets to call people in to subpoena them. So how do you expose things? You just don't take it and go away. You don't prematurely pull the trigger on things. You're patient, you're smart, you're stealthy, and you take it on the back until you know it's time to pull that trigger. And I believe there's something behind, and I'm not sure what it is. Maybe you guys, maybe it'll take some time to process. Why did Mr. T post on X now? Why now? Of all times. And why did he post and pin his mugshot? So let's process that. And if he's such an egomaniac, I don't think that posting a mugshot is something that you would post. So there is meaning behind that. And in my opinion, the mugshot, that's an amazing photo. I said at the beginning of this show, and I will always say it's going to go down in infamy, because that picture is worth more than 1,000 words. And, it seems like the ball's spinning in good over evil's favor. For a long time, it felt like we were kind of stagnant and not much was happening, or people were saying nothing's ever going to happen. But you know what? It feels like the wheels are in that forward motion now for justice to prevail and come through. And it's taken a while. It's taken a lot longer than most people want. It's taken longer than we'd like. Some people have, jumped ship and said, what's going to be is going to be. I'm just going to go off and live my life. That's the choice that people make. I understand that. But when you look at what's happening, not just with Mr. T, I don't know if you've seen, but I've seen documentation about that, the sickness coming back, a new, different kind of sickness. And they want to reinstate everything again. And they have a plan of how they're going to reinstate it, from the airports and the pilots. And then it's going to go to the hospitals and all that kind of stuff. And then back to us again. And I saw the documentation that was presented, and I haven't gone through all of them yet, but a friend gave it to me. And the statement in there is it's not supposed to end till August 25th, I believe, of 2028. 2028. So I saw that and I couldn't believe it. And I know people say, well, don't fall for it the second time around. Well, a lot of us never fell for it the first time around. Everything should always be a choice. So I hope that this time around, should it come around, and if they try to do this, that people will stand up, even the people that didn't the first time, and say, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that, because there's nothing been proven to prevent anything from us doing that. And then you go back and you think, a million times I will say, why were major companies like the big box stores, why were they able to stay open, but the small mom and pop shops were not allowed to stay open? If this was so deadly and so tragic, and it was so contagious, wouldn't it make sense to have smaller local area stores stay open so you have a smaller amount of people in and out, and it's the people stay in their communities. Because you have to remember, these big box stores, sometimes people had to travel very far to get to these stores. So wasn't that a risk to travel to get to these stores, to be able to get the supplies you needed? Wouldn't it be less costly and make more sense for us to be able to drive to our corner store or corner market to obtain our necessities instead of driving a half hour, 40 minutes away to a major box store? So nobody has answers for that. I mean, I do. I believe they purposely wanted to shut down mom and pop stores. I believe they want the major corporations just to take over all things. You know, there's going to be rich, rich and poor, poor, unless we keep fighting the good fight and we stand up for our rights in the right legal way. And we stay smart and we keep our wits about us. So with this other thing coming down, if it does come down, like I said, it doesn't look pretty. It doesn't look good. And I'm just hoping that, people make the right choices and we keep our heads about us and wits about us, because we don't want to, like I said, lose our wits, go crazy, none of that stuff. I know a lot of people are fatigued and fed up with it all. But like I said, I believe what happened here in Georgia was a turning point. And, we just got to keep the faith. So with that, that's all I had for this afternoon, this Friday afternoon into the early evening. It's almost supper time for a lot of people, 5:22. But, like I said, just think about what I brought and what I said today. And, if you have any opinions and stuff on it that you didn't get to put in the message here in chat, you can always email me at tammynation.com, because I love your feedback. Good or bad, I can handle constructive criticism. I can handle other opinions, but you got to have proof. You can't just text me, or you can't just email me and say, well, Trump is a ding dong, or, Biden's not so bad. You have to have facts and proof behind you, because I'm all about the truth. I'm all about finding the facts. When you look out there and you have an opinion, you have a right to your opinion, but you say at some point, with all this chaos that's been going on in this world, you have to have facts. You pull back your lens, and I keep saying, pull back your lens. It's way past Mr. T or Mr. B. It's even past the candidates running. It's about, what do you want for your country that you live in? What do you want for your families? What do you want for your kids? What do you want for the future generations? It is time to feel passion. It is time to have emotion. It is time to voice our opinions and our suggestions and not just accept everything. We got so, I think, lazy, so concerned about hurting feelings, and so much about this unity and acceptance that it's spun out of control with everything that's going on. The only unity we're ever going to have is if it comes through God first. It's not man to man. It comes through God and his rules and his laws, what's right and what's wrong. And then from there, it spreads to everybody else. And that's how we unify. It's not going to be just on opinions. It's not going to be, about just accepting anything and everything. There are rules to live by, and there are standards as humans to live by, and we have to get those standards back. We have to get the country back. We can't keep saying that we are taking it over, bending over for all these illegals that are coming in, and it's always been that way. We can't keep saying, well, America's so strong that we can afford to pay billions to all these countries to support wars. There's a time to just stop. Enough is enough. So anyways, have a great night, everybody. Like I said, I got onto another tangent. That's what I do. It's like these thoughts keep coming, but I want everybody to have a great weekend. Enjoy your Friday. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you guys soon on the next one. God bless, peace out, and take care. I'll talk to you soon.